Welcome back. Hunter Biden ally and Los Angeles entertainment lawyer Kevin Morris trying to flip the script on Hunter's infamous laptop. Morris reportedly assembling a team of 30 lawyers and investigators to help Hunter Biden. Joining me right now is New York Post columnist and Fox News contributor and the author of the excellent book, Laptop from Hell. Miranda Devine is here. Miranda, great to see you. Thanks very much for being here. What's this all about? I know your recent op-ed in the New York Post, you pointed out that Morris's team is not trying to change the narrative on the damning contents of the laptop, but you write, instead, Hunter's team is attempting to sow confusion about how the laptop became public. Tell us about it.
Hi, Maria. Yes, it's quite an interesting little attempt at spinning the laptop narrative. And as you say, they don't appear to be interested at all in pulling back on any of the content, which is so damning about the Biden family influence peddling scheme. Instead, they want to attack or flip the script on the origin story of the laptop. And Kevin Morris is a wealthy entertainment lawyer in Los Angeles who's befriended Hunter Biden, and Hunter Biden's friends call him Hunter's latest sugar brother because he's already loaned him more than $2 million to pay back taxes to sort of try and blunt the effect of this Delaware investigation into Hunter's taxes and his overseas business dealings. And also, apparently, he is paying Hunter's $20,000 a month rental on a Malibu house. So what he gets out of it, I think, is sounds to me, I've spoken to him, is altruism. He genuinely believes that Hunter Biden, as a reformed addict, deserves a second chance. I mean, I don't think anyone disagrees with that. But the problem is, the truth is the truth. And we have already outlined the chain of custody of that laptop when it came to John Paul Mac Isaac's MacBook repair shop in Delaware. That was Hunter Biden. It was Hunter Biden's signature on the receipt. The material on the laptop is unique to that laptop. So it's very difficult to spin. But as we know, the left-wing media is very eager to kibosh this story. They ignored it for 18 or 19 months. They're only reluctantly now admitting that the laptop is real and that the emails and other material is authentic.
Yeah, well, they're just trying to confuse the story just the way that they try to confuse the Russia collusion lie, which is actually very straightforward and very clear, but throw lots of different ideas out there to just confuse people so that they don't understand what's going on. Look, I agree. Everybody deserves a second chance, but let's be clear here, Miranda. This is not about Hunter Biden's drug use. This is about influence peddling. So how much would you estimate that the Biden family has taken in from foreigners, like, for example, China? How much money has the Biden family, and that includes President Biden, Hunter Biden, President Biden's younger brother, James Biden, how much money have they taken in from Chinese officials, for example, that you've been able to document?
Well, from China, look, I would say it's in the tens of millions, but you have to add in, of course, Ukraine, Russia, Kazakhstan, Romania, countries all over the world. Part of that were deals that were being done with that Chinese energy company, CEFC. The laptop doesn't contain everything, but I think when you stitch it together with the Tony Bobulinski material and also the financial documents that Chuck Grassley and Ron Johnson have procured in their Senate investigation, I think it adds up to tens of millions of dollars. A lot of that, squandered really by all of them, but particularly by Hunter, because, of course, he had this raging crack and prostitute addiction, porn addiction. He stayed in very expensive hotels. He had very expensive cars, expensive taste in clothing. They lived the high life, the entire Biden family.
Well, look, Peter Schweitzer has been on this program, and he said that he has been able to document $31 million taken in just from Chinese officials, including the CEFC company. But President Biden's younger brother, James Biden, is using a rare interview with the Washington Post to deny claims that he is, quote, the family fixer. James claims that he's just a responsible member of the Biden family trying to help. As you can see, he says he's not the fixer. Recently released emails reveal, however, more about his involvement with Hunter Biden's 2017 business deal with Chinese executives. Miranda, you wrote all about it.
Yes, and look, both things can be true, that Jim Biden is a loyal family member who solves problems for his relatives, but also that he is the fixer, and that's true. He comes in and fixes problems. He used to put Hunter into rehab. He would take the fall for a lot of problems that the family had, and it was Joe Biden himself who called his brother the fixer. So that's not a slur, but it's interesting how sensitive he is to that. He himself is under investigation, and you know, he is an integral part of this family scheme, this influence peddling scheme, which reaches back to the early days of Joe Biden's first becoming a senator in Delaware, but was turbocharged during his vice presidency.
It's just extraordinary. This is all extraordinary, Miranda. As a sitting vice president, he's got Hunter Biden traveling to China on Air Force Two, and then getting these tens of millions of dollars. You've got a column coming out next week, real quick, about Kathleen Biden, that's Hunter's ex-wife, because she's out with a book, right?
Yes, and look, she was a victim in all of this. She was married to Hunter for 24 years. They had 3 children. She knew that he had addiction problems, but she really didn't realise the extent to which he was betraying her and the family, and just wasting so much money, and living a double life, and eventually having an affair with his sister-in-law. She's talking about that in a dignified fashion, but it's telling that she's given up the Biden name. She went to court to remove it.
Yeah. Wow. Miranda, thanks very much for weighing in on all of that. We look forward to that column next week. Miranda Devine from the New York Post